Today I want to talk to you about the music from my favourite TV show of all time, Doctor Who. This is part 1, which talks about the classic era of Doctor Who, but part 2, which talks about the revival era, is posted now. So with that being said, let's take a deep dive into the music of Doctor Who. Created almost exactly 60 years ago, Doctor Who has rarely left our screens, except when it did in the 80s and 90s, but it has stood the test of time as one of the most innovative shows on television. In a show like Doctor Who, you need to get the music right to be able to portray the sense of otherworldliness and the feel of the future. It had to be electronic, which in 1963 was a challenge. When we think about the pioneers of electronic music, we may think about Kraftwerk or Giorgio Moroder or Wendy Carlos. But actually, the music of Doctor Who has contributed massively to the technology and production methods by which electronic music is made today. The main theme music from Doctor Who was originally created by Ron Grainer and realised by Delia Derbyshire from the BBC Radiophonics Workshop. The coolest department name ever. Delia Derbyshire used analog synthesizers and found sounds to create this theme tune. Analog synthesizers generate electric current, which then forms sounds such as sawtooths and sine waves. And the practice of using found sounds is where you record a normal acoustic sound, such as a clap, and then rework that into the song. Or in the case of Doctor Who, you take a house key, scrape it up and down a piano string, and you've got the TARDIS.
And wait till you hear the music. We're using the latest technology.
How did you do it?
Brian's house keys.
To construct the theme back in 1963, it would have taken weeks to get even the most simple songs, which just shows you how far the technology has come. I mean, ridiculously so. Not only would every sound have to be painstakingly made, but then they would have to cut up the individual pieces of tape and then stick them together, taking into account rhythm and tempo. The pure genius of the people at the Radiophonics Workshop cannot be understated. It was incredible. Moving on to 1982, Peter Howell was now the person responsible for the theme music. The show had been going on for almost 20 years, so of course there were going to be some updates to the music. Compositionally speaking, the theme tune went mostly unchanged. It wasn't a new key, but the sounds being used were completely different. The music needed a refresh, and Howell did just that with an 80s style remix. The music for this amazing show has always been so important. It's part of its DNA, and I've only talked about one song. There are countless compositions used all throughout the show, and its impact on science fiction as a genre has been enormous. Doctor Who was sadly cancelled in the 80s, but thanks to Russell T Davies, in 2005 that music came blasting through our TVs once more. But this time it was being composed by the one and only Murray Gold. And you can hear me talk about him and his work in Doctor Who in part 2, which is already posted now. Thanks for watching.